It's in Australia, it's a Saturday morning, and we're here and we have Marco Rossignoli on the left of screen and Graham McGuiness on the right of the screen.
G'day everyone.
G'day.
Marco has written books on pinball machines in the early 2000-ish, and he wrote two, and Graham collaborated with him later on and they wrote two more. So there's 4 books on the market. So what we're going to do, we're going to let Graham say and Marco say a little bit about those books, and away you go, guys.
Yeah, g'day guys. I've always wanted to go to Pinball Expo. It looks like Pinball Expo is coming to me this year, isn't it?
There you go.
So back in 1997, I think it was, I started writing this book. It's no longer on sale in this format, but if I put that book down, now it looks like this in its current version, but it's still 20 years old. It was printed in 2000. At the time that I wrote the book, there wasn't any other pinball books out. I think the last book that came out was in like 1988, so I decided to write my own. Apparently it's the best-selling pinball book ever. Whether somebody can substantiate that. Yeah, it's still on sale through Shipper. Like I said, unfortunately, it's I haven't updated it, and I'm not going to update it. Although Shipper did ask me if I wanted to bring it up to speed, and I said no, it's too much work. The format of the book was too much to rejig. A couple of years after that, I decided to write another book. It was Sucker for Punishment. So I wrote Pinball Memories, 40 Years of Fun, which is basically, as you can see, it's not a history book in such, it's a history book wrapped up in different pinball machines. So I picked 50 pinball machines and just wrote a chapter on each. And there's a good one from Hankin, Australian made. Plus there was another one there from Hankin, I think. There it is, all but one. Yeah, so I decided to do a book on 50 pinball machines. And then during the course of this book, I needed help in photography. So there's my mate Graham. He was helping in the photography side of things. But we decided to get together and write 2 books together. Which one was Pinball Snapshot,
Yep.
and the other one was Pinball Perspectives.
Well, I've been interested in pinball since my early childhood, and playing the first pinball around '65 because I was the youngest of four boys, and so I played pinball all through my childhood until the '70s, and then got out of it for a while. And back in '85, I decided to buy my first pinball machine. And back then, there was no one around that could fix them, so I just had to learn on myself. And I just struggled through for the first few years, and then I got really crook and had to retire. And then after that, since I didn't have a great deal to do, I started really getting into repairs. And I met Marco, would have been around probably '98, I should imagine.
Yeah, 97. I think I met Graham when I came to do some photos of some of these machines for this book.
That's correct, yeah.
I think it was a 2001 and plus all sorts of other games.
Marco had a great selection in Newcastle because everyone had pinballs in Newcastle back then. They still do. And Marco went around to all the places, and when he came to my place, he pretty well could not believe all the parts and everything I had and how long I've been into it. And we really clicked together. And I eventually started going out with him doing photography with the books. And it merged into thinking, well, of course I had wrote articles before, the pinball journals and that for on particular subjects. So I did write stuff before, and we just sort of latched together, and we sort of had a few sample chapters together and worked it all out, and we sort of clicked together, and we wrote the one book. We were going to write 3, but these
yeah, we just ran out of
we
steam.
just ran out of stuff to do, sort of thing, and we done the one book, which was pretty good. This
That
one
was
here.
the first one, wasn't it?
The first one there.
Yeah, Pinball Snapshots.
Pinball Snapshots.
Same, it's in the same format. We took like 50 games and we did a chapter on each.
Yeah.
It was actually quite hard to get find collectors around Newcastle. We sort of ran out after about.
Yeah, we had to go Queensland and
Nowadays they're everywhere.
and we've got games sent from collectors in America as well. They send us pictures and whatever.
Yeah.
But nowadays, as you know, you could get it everywhere. And then we done the second one.
The Facebook community, you know, like there's hundreds and hundreds of people around Newcastle that have games. It's just amazing how much is out there, even in a small town. Not to mention Sydney, of course.
And a lot of the chapters, like we both collaborated on the chapters, but I used to like writing a bit of my personal experience with the machine when I was a kid, if they were an old machine. And which sort of brought back memories to myself. And a lot of people asked if we're going to do another one, but no, it's just so much work. You've got no idea how much work there is in these books.
There's no, although there's a small market for books, but it's the internet, the Facebook, all the web pages that you could, and the internet, the Pinball internet database you can, and Google, obviously Google, you punch in a name for a machine, a particular machine, and up comes, 1,000 photos, 1,000 articles. You don't need books these days unless you're old school and you like to sit down and, with
but back then we put
a drink and read all night.
We put a lot of things into the books that a lot of people didn't know. If there was different bumpers on the machine, we would check it out, so they would probably think that their machine was unique, but no, that's how it was. And I think it helped a lot of people back in the day.
Yeah.
Maybe not so much now, but they're still good. They're still a good read.
There's a lot of information. There's still a lot of information in all these books that you can't actually Google.
The rule sets.
Some of the rule sets, but just general information that you just can't. It's not there.
Plus the photographs too. Like the photographs that you might pick up on the internet are pretty stock standard, but we used to take hours taking these photographs. It would take average between about 2.5 to 3 hours to do a machine, to photograph one machine. Where some
because it was film photography.
We could couldn't use digital.
Well, yeah, at the time, these books, when was this one? 2002.
It's 2004.
2006. Yeah. Well, especially with that one. Like, with this one here, the early one, 2000, digital cameras had just come out, and the quality wasn't there. When 2 years later, the quality in 2002 for digital cameras was getting better and better, but Schiffer Publishing they had a system set up that I think they weren't good with digital photography. Now they had a whole mechanism of dealing with film and film photography. They weren't changing over that quickly. By the time we wrote this one, Schiffer was starting to move into digital photography, the use of digital photography. We did send them digital images and they used them, but I didn't have a digital camera.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, now it's so easy to take photos of pinball machines. Like, you can take a photo, have a look. It looks okay. Yeah. Back in those days, we had tried. We'd make, like, you look at us in this room. We'd set up the machine facing the light. Put curtains over it so it would reflect the light back down onto the playing field. Now you don't even have to do any of that.
Yeah. Like we work 8 hours straight and we'd only do 2 machines.
Yeah.
A lot of people, some people write books and they take about 10 machines, click, and that's it.
Yeah.
Where obviously the pictures don't look up to scratch.
I think there's a lot of that is lost. Like, you can't see the amount of work we put in some of these images. A lot of the art is lost. Like taking a photo like that these days is so easy. Yeah. That took a lot of work just to get set up.
10 minutes just to set it up.
And get the lighting just right. Even that one, that's a nice photo. And then to colour correct them, you had to tell. I couldn't colour correct them myself because I didn't process them, but then you had to tell the photo lab to try and get the right colour. It was a lot of work just trying to get. We'd take about 5 or 6 photos of the same shot with different light, daylight.
Yeah.
We had fluoro lights. We had just
and then
normal hot lights like on the ceiling.
You get them all back and you say, no good. and you get just a small handful out of this big stack of photos that you took.
Yeah, I think with the first one, I know for a fact with the first one, not sure about the other ones, it'll probably be the same. I think that was about 1,000 photographs. There's 1,000 photographs in this book, okay? And I think personally, because I had a lot of photographs sent to me from overseas, but it's something crazy like 2,000 photos, 2 or 3,000 photos per book I had to actually take, and then you card out like 1 in 5. So
yeah. Oh, definitely.
so you kept the best one, the other 4 you didn't use.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a lot of work, a lot of money.
Well, there you go. Thanks, Marco and Graham, for that fantastic insight into those 4 books, which of course are still available from Schiffer Publishing if anyone out there in pinball land wants to purchase. And
I'm sure Schiffer will be more pleased than in these times. I don't know how they're going, but they're lucky to stand.
yeah, so thanks again.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, here we are at the actual goat shed now. We've done a little tour of our hometown in Newcastle, New South Wales, Australia. And this is the goat shed. We'd like you to come in and have a look at what we do here every day. And there's the Lord Goat up there overlooking things on a daily basis. Now this is the front shed where we bring machines in and we actually leave them stored till we're ready to work on them. There are a few machines in here at the moment. This cabinet here belongs to a Williams game we're working on at the moment. And that's another game over there we have ready to go. A bingo machine here. And there's another Gottlieb wedge head here. Now we keep a few parts in this area here. So we try and have our parts in order, although we have a pile of spare doors for mainly Gottlieb and Williams games. And then we have a pile of steppers we have here. All spare parts, all come out of machines where we've ended up with the machine, the cabinet had rotted away, there was no head or no bottom part of the machine. Yeah, as you can see, we have lots and lots of parts. More bally parts all in there. Look at all those bally steppers, all come in handy for us to use. Down here we have more parts, even though it doesn't look very tidy. We have some spare transformers, not that you use many of those very often. We have score reels, coils, relays, all sorts of things down here in this front shed. We have, in case we need wires, we've got plenty of old wiring looms. I mean, they're all overkill. We've got more transformers. We have score motor parts. So we have score motor cams off the old Gottlieb. We have whole score motor assemblies, cams, the physical motors. We've got lots of parts. We're very, very fortunate. Not in the best of order, as I said earlier, but we know where everything is. So down here we have more Bally type score reels. There's more Gottlieb score reels down there. There's parts everywhere. So we walk out of this shed now, and we've actually just done a little bit of maintenance on this shed a week ago. We're going to be joining the 2 sheds together. So this area here is going to be repaired, and it's going to be a walkway into the other shed, which is the actual goat shed. So that's going to happen over the next 12 months or so. These things all take time. We're too busy fixing pinball machines. We had a working bee here recently, and we had about half a dozen guys and came over and put a new roof on this shed. This shed we're in was built in 1952, so it's quite old, as you can see. But it's just a storage area, so that's not a problem. So we're going to walk out now. We're going to come into the other shed. And in we come. Now we welcome you to the actual goat shed itself. This is where all the work takes place. So Graham, I'm going to introduce you now to Graham. This is Graham McGuiness. This is his place we're at, and this is he's started the goat shed. He's been doing this for over 35 years. My name's Kim. I came along and started helping Graham about 6.5 years ago now. And we work on pinball machines, only electromechanical, for 6 half-a-days a week. It's a hobby, it's not a business, it's a labour of love for us both. We just enjoy getting these machines up and running. Yes, it can be frustrating, because as everyone in the pinball machine hobby knows, that these machines are up to 50 odd years old, and sometimes things don't work as they're supposed to, or someone's hacked them over a period of years. So when we get our machine into the goat shed, what we do with it, we pull it, we don't even turn it on. We pull it apart, we remove the head off the game, and we do all the score rails, we do all the steppers in the head, check and clean all the relays. We then do the motorboard and the playfield underneath and top. So we move down here. We're currently working on this game here, this Williams game, and we're already in the process of going through the mechanisms now. So this is a Williams swinger. We had the cabinet out in the other room. We're just pulling all the score reels apart. They'll all get cleaned,
yep, and adjustments,
and adjusted. All the stepper units will get the same and checked. So out comes the replay unit, out comes this player unit, ball count unit, because it's a 2-player game, and away we go. Now, we've already shown you some parts that we have out there. So if we need parts, yep, we've got plenty. Obviously, we don't have every part made. Sometimes we have to order them from the US, which is very, very costly to us here in Australia. But if you've got to do it, you've got to do it. So we try and order a lot of parts from Steve Young at Pinball Resource in one go. It costs us money, but it's well worth it. So Australia, we have a hot climate here. So we were recently donated an air conditioner by our good friends from Tasmania, which is the lone state of Australia. Even the forgotten state, some people say, but we thank them very much for that. So that's a dual cycle aircon and serves us well in the winter and summer. And over here, if we have a look, we toured America in 2018. Spanky came over and he was given a gift. And this is a beautiful piece of artwork made into a clock, and we thank our friend Tom Considine very, very much for that gift. We obviously see it every day and we know what time to knock off. And also, we have a pinball festival every year in our hometown of Newcastle. Now, what I might add is that Newcastle is the only town in Australia that ever made their own pinball machines. A company called A. Hankin & Co. made a series of machines, I think about 5 of them, solid state games. And that's there in a street called Derby Street in Newcastle. And this particular plaque we've got here is a fashion show restoration, and it won the best restoration at Pinfest a little while ago there in 2016. So that was one Graham had done just as I was starting out with him.
We try to get a restoration in this year's of the show.
Yeah, that's right. So we're very proud of that. So Spanky, our goat. Everyone's met Spanky. Very famous goat. Spanky toured America with us in 2018, and a lot of photo opportunities were taken at both the York White Rose Gaming Show and the Chicago Pinball Expo. Yep. So that's Spanky. A lot of people ask about Spanky.
Been the Brisbane Pinball Masters twice.
Yeah, that's right. The Brisbane Pinball Masters here in Australia. Now, we have more parts here. This is simply just a collection of Jones plugs, FS, AS relays, you name it, we've got it. We've got plenty of them. We have just general flipper parts, second hand, new old stock in some cases, that we take out of games. We have coils by the truckload. Williams, Gottlieb, Bally. The only thing we have to get sometimes is if we get a burnt out coil, which we haven't got, or we try and find one we might be able to use, which is close enough. So parts are bound here in the goat shed. One thing we do have is a full workshop. We have a drill press as we spin around here, we can see our drill press, which we use, not all the time, but it comes in handy for that. Odd job that you might need, like drilling out those brass rivets on score motors that you sometimes have to do.
But one thing we do use every day is the buffer and the grinder.
That's right, yeah, we do buff parts. So a great example of that is pop bumper rings that get dirty. We buff them on the hard buffer and polish them up, and they come up, they look really nice when they're finished. So that's what we do there. There's something there in the corner we might just show you too. That's an old trade stimulator.
934 mils trade stimulator.
There you go.
That was going to the tip that I saved.
There you go. That was a tip find, a dump find. Someone was going to chuck it out, and Graham got hold of that. So we are sort of organised in the goat shed. We have a whiteboard up here where we record the jobs we're doing and what parts we put in them. Yeah. When we repair machines, we don't charge by the hour. We just charge a fixed rate plus parts.
Because we go through so many machines, we just got to put the stuff up that we does, because we just use so many parts and we just forget what we're doing.
So we hope that gives you a little bit of an insight into the goat shed and what we do. Now we do have our own Facebook page called the Goat Shed, and we do have a YouTube channel called Goat Shed. And we're starting to post more videos on that YouTube channel, which are technically oriented to try and teach people how to fix different things. The latest ones we have on there are score reels by Gottlieb, how to rebuild a Decagon score reel. And we also did a very good one on rebuilding a Gottlieb ball count unit. The next video we'll be doing soon is how to demystify score motors, and a little bit of an explanation about how the score motors work on both Gottlieb with the carousel score motor and Williams and Bally with the horizontal score motor.
Yeah. And plus we've got another course coming up as well.
Yes, that's right. We've just started. We ran in August our first pinball introductory course, if you will, that was giving people an insight into relays, stepper rebuilding and repair and adjustment, along with score motor demystify, and pop bumper rebuilding, flipper rebuilding, all the basic stuff.
Yeah, and common troubleshooting.
Yeah, that's right. So we can only take 4 students at a time, and we're actually running another one of those toward the end of October, and we've already filled that course up, which we're happy about. And we hope to be able to pass our knowledge on to other people, because as you can see, we're not very young. We're getting quite old.
I am, I'm right.
And we need younger people to learn how to fix these magnificent machines. The analog computers, they are, aren't they? And I remember playing my first pinball machine in 1963, and that was a game by Gottlieb, Tropic Isle. Now I actually own one of those, and part of this video will be a little tour of my shed with my pinball machines, just to give you a bit of an insight into it. So that's it. So thanks very much for watching.
Yep, thank you very much.
Thank you.